Before I share this testimony with you, I need to start with a question, and I want you to actually think about it. Don't just scroll past it. When was the last time you looked up at the sky and felt something? Not just saw it, not just thought, oh, that's pretty, but actually felt something move inside your chest, like the universe was trying to get your attention. Because a lot of us walked outside during that ring of fire eclipse and looked up and felt exactly that. That strange, quiet pull, that feeling that something bigger than us was happening right above our heads. Scientists explained it perfectly. The moon's distance from the Earth, the alignment, the angle, all of it mapped out, all of it predictable. But here's my question. What if the science and the something more aren't mutually exclusive? What if the sky operates on two levels, the one we can measure and the one we can only feel? I've been sitting on this story for weeks now. I didn't know how to introduce it, honestly, because it's not the kind of thing you just drop on people. But today, we're going to hear from a woman named Alana, and I mean that literally. You're going to hear it from her. Because this isn't my story to tell, it's hers, and she tells it better than anyone ever could. Alana was watching the Ring of Fire eclipse from a field in central Texas when her heart stopped. For 4 minutes, she was gone, and what she came back with is what she will be sharing with us today. Before I hand things over to Alana, real quick, if you found your way to this video, I don't think that's an accident. The people who end up watching content like this are usually the ones asking the deeper questions. The ones who feel like there's more going on beneath the surface of everyday life. So if that's you, kindly hit that subscribe button, because we go deep here and I don't want you to miss what's coming. Also tell us where you are listening from in the comments section so that we can connect as a family. After you hear Eliana's testimony, I want to know what you think in the comments, whether something she says connects to something you've experienced yourself. And please share this video if it moves you. These kinds of testimonies don't travel without people like you pushing them forward. Now sit back and listen to the testimony as she shares it with you.
I want to start by saying I'm not someone who goes looking for extraordinary things. I never was. I'm a mum. I've got 2 kids, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I've got a husband named Michaels who makes terrible jokes and somehow still makes me laugh at all of them. I've got a house that always needs something fixed, and a garden in the back that I kept promising myself I'd actually take care of someday. I was just normal. Happily, boringly normal. And I want you to understand that about me before I tell you the rest, because I think it matters. I wasn't someone who was searching for a spiritual experience. I wasn't meditating every day or reading about near-death experiences or anything like that. I was just living my life. So when this happened to me, when this happened to someone like me, I had to take it seriously. Because I had no framework for it. No belief system I was trying to confirm. It just arrived, and it changed everything. The morning of the eclipse, I woke up weird. I don't know how else to say it. I woke up and the room felt different. Not scary different, just heavy almost. Like the air had more weight in it than usual. I even said something to Michaels. I was like, "Does it feel strange in here to you?" And he looked at me like I was losing it and said, "It feels like a Tuesday, Eliana." So I let it go. I made breakfast, got the kids sorted, and I packed up this little eclipse watching kit I'd put together. Those paper glasses you get, a blanket, my thermos of sweet tea. We have this open field, about 10 minutes outside of town, where you can see the sky from every direction. No trees blocking anything. Just wide open Texas sky as far as you can see. Some neighbors were already out there when I arrived. Families, some older folks with their lawn chairs. It had this lovely, easy feeling, like a little neighborhood holiday nobody planned. And then the eclipse started. Slow at first, the way they always are. The moon just barely kissing the edge of the sun. People oohing and hanging through their glasses. Kids pointing. It was genuinely beautiful. I put my glasses on and looked up. And that's when something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't lightning and thunder. It was quiet, almost gentle, but I felt this sensation in my chest like a tuning fork being struck. like something deep inside me was vibrating at a frequency I didn't recognize. I lowered my glasses, I blinked a few times, and then I sat down. I don't remember sitting down, I don't remember deciding to. I just was on the ground, and then I wasn't anywhere at all. The first thing I want to tell you is that it wasn't dark. I know people expect you to say it was dark, or they expect the tunnel, the light at the end, all the things you've heard before. But it wasn't like that for me. It was more like the space between things, like the pause between one breath and the next, stretched out into something enormous. Not empty, not lonely, just still, profoundly still, in a way I've never felt on earth. The kind of still that isn't absence, it's presence, like everything was so full and complete that there was nothing left to move. And then something opened. I can't tell you what it looked like. I can only tell you what it felt like walking from a small, dim room into something with no ceiling and no walls, and more light than you thought could exist without blinding you. Except it didn't blind me, it just held me. And then I saw them, the sun and the moon. I'm going to need a second here because even now, even after all these while of trying to find the words, this part still gets me. They were close, not the way we see them from Earth, small and distant and separate. They were there, present, and they were enormous in a way that my brain kept trying to refuse, like the scale of them was too big for my mind to hold, but I was holding it anyway. And they were moving, turning, both of them, slowly, but with this absolute unwavering precision, like the most intricate clock you've ever seen, if a clock could be the size of the universe. Every rotation landing exactly where it was supposed to. No hesitation, no error. And I understood. And I need you to hear me when I say I understood this. Not like reading a fact, but like remembering something I'd always known and somehow forgotten. These weren't just celestial bodies following gravity. They were keeping time. Every eclipse, every alignment, every shadow, every ring of fire, every blood moon. Each one was a tick, a marker. A deliberate notch in something ancient that had been counting long before any of us existed and would keep counting long after. The universe had a clock, and it was built into the sky above our heads. And I stood there, watching those gears turn, and I felt something I genuinely do not have a word for. Not fear, not wonder exactly, though it was that too. It was more like being seen, completely, totally seen. Every part of me, even the parts I'd never shown anyone, and loved anyway. Loved because of, not in spite of. I started crying before I even realized I was crying. And then I wasn't alone. I don't know how to describe what I saw, or who. I've tried so many times, and every version falls short. It was a presence more than a shape. But it took something like a form, tall and filled with light in a way that wasn't blinding. It was more like being near a fire on a cold night. You lean toward it. You don't look away. The warmth is the whole point. I called it the guardian afterward, not because it told me that, but because that's the only word that fit how it felt to stand near it. Like being protected, like being stood in front of by something that would absorb any harm before it reached you. It didn't speak to me with a voice. I want to be really clear about that. I didn't hear words. It was more like thoughts that landed in me fully formed, clean and clear, like someone had carefully placed them there. No distortion, no confusion. And the first thing it communicated to me was about time. It showed me. And when I say showed me, I mean I understood it the way you understand something when you live it, not when someone tells it to you. It showed me that time isn't what we think it is. We live like it's endless. Like there's always another day. Another chance, another someday waiting down the road. But the guardian showed me those turning gears, and it said, without words, that the clock was approaching something, that the ring of fire, the eclipse I'd been watching when I collapsed, was not random, that it was a page turning, a signal sent, a bell rung in the architecture of the universe for anyone awake enough to hear it. And then it showed me what was coming, the blood moon. I felt the weight of that shift immediately. Something about the blood moon was different. Not terrifying, but significant in a way that made everything else feel like preamble. like the universe had been preparing something for a long time, and the blood moon was the moment it would be revealed. Not an ending. That wasn't the feeling at all, more like a doorway being swung open, and the guardian pressed into me with something that felt like urgency soaked in love, those two things somehow existing at the same time. It pressed into me this question: will the people you love be ready to walk through it? Not ready in a bunker and supplies way, not ready in a fear way, ready in their spirit, ready in the way a person is ready when they've done the real work, the quiet, invisible, hard work of becoming who they were always supposed to be, when they've mended what they broke, when they've said what they were afraid to say, when they've stopped running from the silence and started sitting in it long enough to hear what it has to tell them, when they've stopped treating love like something they'll show more of tomorrow. And then the guardian did something I wasn't prepared for. It showed me home. Not dramatically, not like a movie, just gently, like a slideshow of the most ordinary moments I almost hadn't noticed the value of while I was living them. Michelle's making coffee in the morning, still half asleep. Hair a mess. My daughter doing this thing she does where she talks with her hands when she's excited about something. My son's laugh, that ridiculous, too big laugh that takes over his whole body. The light in my kitchen on Sunday afternoons. The smell of rain on my garden, just that, just those things. And I was crying so hard by this point, in that place that wasn't a place, in that body that wasn't quite my body. I was completely broken open, because I understood why it was showing me. It wasn't showing me what I'd miss if I didn't come back. It was showing me what I'd been taking for granted while I was there. And then it said, and this came through clearer than anything else, like it wanted to make absolutely sure I carried it back with me. Go back. Tell them. Not with fear. Never with fear. With love. But tell them. The clock is turning. Don't let them sleep through it. I came back gasping. That's what Michelle's told me later, that I came back gasping like someone pulled out of deep water. He wasn't even there yet when it happened. He was called after. But the people around me said 1 second I was just still, and the next I was pulling in air like I'd been starved of it. I was crying before I was fully conscious. By the time I was coherent enough to understand where I was, hospital, fluorescent lights, that particular smell, Michelle's was there, holding my hand so tight it almost hurt, and he had this look on his face I'd never seen before, this terrified, relieved, desperate look. And I looked at him and I didn't say, I'm okay first. I didn't say, don't worry. I said, we don't have as much time as we think. I need you to listen to me. The weeks after were strange. I kept trying to explain what I'd seen and the words just kept falling short. Not because it was fuzzy. It was the clearest thing I've ever experienced. Clearer than anything on this side. But there's a ceiling on human language. It wasn't built to carry what I brought back. Michelle's listened. He tried to understand. Sometimes I'd catch him looking at me differently. Not worried exactly, just watching. Like he was trying to figure out which parts of me had come back the same and which parts hadn't. The truth is most of me came back the same. But my priorities shifted so fast it made my head spin. I called my sister. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. Over something I couldn't even fully reconstruct anymore. Some argument that felt enormous at the time, and now seems so small I could barely find it. I called her and I didn't give a preamble. I just said, I miss you and I'm sorry and I don't want us to lose more time. She cried. I cried. We talked for 3 hours. I started sitting with my kids differently. Not just being in the room while they talked, actually being there. Putting my phone down, asking questions. Listening to the answers like they were the most important words I'd ever heard. Because that's what the guardian showed me. They are. They actually are. And the garden, I know this sounds small compared to everything else, but I went out and I tended my garden. Finally, after years of meaning to, I got my hands in the dirt and I planted things and I watered them and I just showed up for something I'd kept putting off. Because that's the whole lesson, isn't it? We keep putting things off. We keep treating our lives like rough drafts. And the cook doesn't wait for us to feel ready. I agreed to share my story because the guardian asked me to. And before you think that sounds strange, I know how it sounds. But I promised in that place that I would tell it, that I wouldn't keep it to myself because it felt weird or because I was afraid people wouldn't believe me. I don't need you to believe me. I just need you to hear me. The blood moon is coming. Look it up, the date is not far. And I don't know exactly what the threshold is. I don't know what walking through that doorway looks like. The Guardian didn't give me a disaster plan. It gave me something much simpler than that. It gave me urgency. The good kind. The kind that makes you call your sister. The kind that makes you sit with your kids. The kind that makes you say the thing you've been carrying around for years because you didn't know if the time was right. The time is right. The clock is turning. Don't sleepwalk through what's left. Thank you for listening to my testimony, and I pray that as it was shown to me and as I have shared it, a lot of people will hear it and be ready.
If you listen to this point, you will understand that the most important part is not the eclipse, it's what changed inside her. She didn't come back scared. She didn't come back shouting about disaster. She came back realizing something very simple. Time is not endless. We all act like we have forever. We say, I'll call later. I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll spend more time with them next week. But what if later isn't promised? Her experience reminded her that love should not be delayed. That's the real message. Call the person you miss. Say sorry if you need to. Sit with your kids and really listen. Stop waiting for the perfect time. You don't have to understand everything she saw to understand that lesson. Life moves forward. The clock keeps ticking, so don't sleep through the days you've been given. That's the point. Once again, thank you for listening to this end. I hope and know that this testimony has blessed you today. Please let us be ready and do the right thing. Before you go, please, I want you to do one thing for me. Kindly like this video. Share it with your family and friends who needs to listen to this message. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I am asking you to please do it now, because it will help YouTube show you more of our videos when we post a new video. So if you have subscribed, may the Lord bless you. In Jesus' name, amen.